Welcome back to Analytical Media. We are a consortium, a group of therapists, college professors, and well-published peer-reviewed authors. You can find our book on the subject of psychopathy, entitled Descent into Darkness, at Amazon.com. The book analyzes the murder of Travis Alexander by Jodi Arias from the perspective of psychopathy. If you're interested in psychopathy, how the psychopath thinks and functions and appears to the world, that's a good book. It really is. Today's question: how do I know when it's time to see a therapist? A pretty common question. I mean, everybody has some depression, some sadness, or most people do. But when is that bad enough that you should see a therapist? When do you cross the line? When would you benefit? I really think that if therapy were free, in other words, it was free, no cost, no insurance stuff, no 12 visits a year, but free, a government service to make America better, I really think that most people would see a therapist. Certainly teenagers would. Growing up is hard, very hard, extremely hard. Horrible feelings during that period of time. Am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Will I ever get a job? Will I ever have a partner in life? Am I lovable? Am I really bad? Am I good? I have no idea. What should I do for a career? What would make me happy? What if I fail? What if I flunk out of school? What if I flunk out of college? What if my friends stop talking to me? Lots and lots of pain in the growing up phase. So I do believe that if it were free, I believe most people would see a therapist. And why wouldn't they? It's 50 minutes of talking about you, not talking about the therapist, not sharing conversations about the past, but 50 minutes that's all about you. I think if massages were free, most people would get them, because that's all 50 minutes of physically manipulating the body, your body, to make you feel better. Really, to answer that question, how do I know when it's time to see a therapist? It's time when you can't handle your problems by yourself anymore. When you don't know the answer to your problems, then it's time to see a therapist. Or before then, but certainly at that point, it's a must-do thing. You must see your therapist when you can no longer handle the depression you feel. You don't know a way out. In my experience, and my colleagues share the same thoughts, we've talked about it many times. In my experience, as long as someone believes that they have problems, but they can figure it out, which occurs commonly. And I would think the least popular time for therapy would be during the 20s. Because generally during the 20s, one feels that they understand life. They understand how to make money. They understand how to find love. They understand how to settle arguments. They know who to vote for. They know what car to buy. They know what job to take. They know what career to pursue. They know what to invest in. It's only when they find out that they don't. It's only after their investments fail, their relationships fail, their depression grows worse, even though they're taking a new concoction of mixed vitamins. It's only then that they're ready for help. As long as they feel they can do it right and they can do it better, they're not really ready for help. So you see, the 20s is a slow period for people to attend counseling. They haven't failed yet enough in life to recognize they don't know how to solve their own problems. And there's no disgrace in not knowing how to solve your own problems, because after all, how many people can fix their own TV? How many people buy a new computer because they can't fix the old one? How many people call a plumber when they have a problem? Not because they're lazy, but because they have no idea how to fix the problem. So we do have specialists. When you realize you can't fix your own plumbing issue, then it's time to find a therapist. So it's that moment when you realize, I've tried this and I've tried that. I've tried talking to this person and that person. I've tried this. Tried jogging in the morning. I've tried jogging after work. I've cut out carbs. I've been on a keto diet. But my problems aren't getting any better. Whatever the problems are, maybe finding a friend. Maybe finding friends is easy, but keeping them is very difficult or impossible for some people. I once had a client a rather long time ago who had a history, we'll speak of his history, had a history which was confirmed from various sources of being considered to be immensely attractive to women. He was obsessed with his appearance and his neatness and his grooming and his dress. If he found a sweater that he liked, he ended up buying every color that sweater was available in. It's not an exaggeration. I'm not exaggerating. And he had no problem finding women, dating women. He was very attractive to women. I had that confirmation from people who knew him. I had that confirmation from family members. I had that confirmation from people that lived in the same neighborhood as him. What was the problem? Well, the problem was every woman he ever dated broke up with him, except for the woman he ended up marrying, and that marriage was not good in any respect. It was bad. But it was the only woman who would put up with him, who would accept him. And their relationship was poor, very poor. So, if you date people, but they always break up with you, they don't want to be with you, we need to figure it out. There are many things, and we'll talk about this in more depth, but there are many things that will make you unacceptable socially in a social setting to other people. You're being judged by that all the time. Every word you speak is being evaluated by the listener. Not listened to, evaluated. They know what you said. Now, what else can they get from that? What can they find out about you? And you may be rejected at some point. So, you may turn out, they may evaluate you because you said things that aren't acceptable to them without knowing it. If you said something that was racist or prejudiced, vulgar, all those things you would think might make you unacceptable socially to people. And so you don't do them. But what you may not recognize is overdisclosure. In social psychology, this is well recognized. You should go so far when you talk about yourself and no further. When you tell a story, you should go so far and no further. That can stop you from succeeding in a relationship. Overdisclosure is probably worse than being vulgar and racist, and will end a relationship, a friendship, a potential friendship, quicker than anything else. Overdisclosure means you reveal too much, and people are very sensitive to this. When you can't handle your problems, when you recognize you don't have the answer, Now, when you're 20 or 21, you probably don't recognize that you don't have the answer. Could it just be more protein? Could be more protein and less carbohydrates. That's how you end your depression or sadness. It could be you spend more time gaming. That will end it. Well, as long as you think that you know the answer, you're not going to get help, though you should. But the time will come when that 20-year-old turns 30 or 32 and suddenly realizes, I don't know what else to do. I've tried everything, and I'm not doing well. Then is the time to get help. You can't really get help when you're forced into therapy. When your spouse forces you in, when your parents force you in, it's really not going to be very productive. So when you want it, you've heard that said many times, when you want help, you have to want help to get better. You've heard it, and it's true. You have to be open to a professional guiding you, educating you. I think, if I'm not misquoting this, there's an old expression, an adage, when you're ready, the teacher will appear. So when you're ready to understand something, and only then can you be helped. This is Analytical Media. I hope we have helped you. Pass this on to other people if you think they'll benefit. If you liked what you heard here, then subscribe. And this is just the beginning. We have an endless amount of material with all the collaborators we have. Well-respected people. The words of Analytical Media through publications, books, and articles have literally reached millions of people. I hope some of you recognize what we're offering here. As I said before, if counseling were free, I think everybody would get it, or almost everyone. Well, these videos are free. This education that we're offering is free, and I hope you'll take advantage of it. Okay, we'll see you the next time we publish.